All right, everybody, welcome. Thanks for coming. I want to start by just making some introductions. So we'll go left to right as I see them on my screen. Koji, if you could just tell me a little bit of who you are, who you work for, and yeah, what you do.
Sure. My name is Koji. My last name is Shiraiwa, which means white rock, but it's really hard to pronounce, so a lot of people have difficulty. It's Shiraiwa, and I'm the CEO of Yamasa USA, and we have a factory in Salem, Oregon. So anyway, glad to be here. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Yeah, of course. Eric.
I'm Eric Anderson with SEDCOR, the Strategic Economic Development Corporation.
Abisha, or Abisha, as my phone likes to pronounce you. Siri likes to say.
Yeah, hi, I'm Abisha Stone, and I'm the Yamhill County Economic Development Manager for SEDCOR.
And then Helly.
I'm Rudenklau, and I'm a farmer in Amity.
Wonderful. Okay, so pretty open question. From each of your perspectives, why are we here? Why are we spending the time to talk about a little bit of wheat? Anybody can jump in. Actually, I'll start with you, Abisha. You got,
oh yeah.
Why are we here?
Yeah, so I'll jump in. To give credit where credit is due, we're here because Koji reached out. And that's the type of thing that neighbors and partners do, is when we are undertaking something new or looking for resources that we don't know how to find, we reach out to each other. And on the broader conversation, the reason why we're here is because localizing supply chain is important to our region. It's important to our business partners, to our industry partners, to SEDCOR, but it's important in securing the economic vitality of any region. And so that is an effort that we've been expressing at SEDCOR in Marion, Polk, and Yamhill counties. And by reaching out, Koji gave us an opportunity to do that.
So Koji, why did you reach out? What kind of opportunity did you see?
Yes. Well, since Yamasa has been here in Salem since 1994, we've been producing soy sauce. And soy sauce requires a lot of wheat and soybeans and salt. That's basically the major ingredients, and we ferment it in our tanks. And it's been growing. It's a good business. It still has been growing, even in this difficult circumstances. So, but when I joined Yamasa in 2019, and then when I was looking, reviewing my company, I've noticed that we've been buying wheat and soybeans from basically Midwest, Eastern United States or Canada. And, I'm hearing sometimes like, well, sometimes we have to cancel our fermentation because we can't get the wheat from Eastern United States because the snow is covered and the truck cannot get here. And there's, and I started to notice some risks there. And at the same time, when I was driving through Oregon, I see a lot of wheat yield. So I knew there was a crop, but I didn't know anybody, of course, any farmers. So that's when I reach out to Abisha and ask if there's any opportunity out there to buy wheat or soybeans in Oregon. So that's kind of how it started in the beginning.
And that brings in Helly into the conversation. How did how did you get involved?
Yeah, so Abisha contacted us, and the challenge for us, or the interest, is the fact that it's hard red spring wheat that's used, or in the soy sauce, and that's not what's normally grown around here. So we grow soft white wheat in Oregon by far. And so we were interested, and we got to tour the plant and visit with Koji and others and explore a little bit what they were looking for. Bruce has a background from New Zealand where they grow hard red wheats. I have a background within the wheat program at Oregon State University, and so we were interested in seeing whether it was possible to grow hard red spring wheat here that would meet the quality parameters that they were looking for the soy sauce. And so it was a challenge and an interesting thing to just explore, to see whether it was doable to do it here and whether it could provide. Wheat is a low value commodity to produce in Oregon. And so if there was a wheat we could grow that'd be a little bit higher value, that would be of interest to us as well. And the spring wheat actually fits very well for the production system here, how it fits into the rotation in terms of weed management and things like that. So there are some benefits to being able to grow spring wheat. And then if you could find a niche market for it that's worth a little bit more than what wheat is normally worth, well, then it might be a real benefit to our production system.
On that, is it often that you go try to find those niche markets, or does really something have to kind of fall in your lap, or make it so very obvious that this is the market, let's grow for it?
We always keep our ears open to what's going on. We will often try new things, but there has to be a market for it in order to do it. It's pretty risky just to grow something. And all the hemp farmers in Oregon will tell you that from last year, that a lot of people jumped into it without knowing the market, and that has really burnt them. So having a market established in the beginning is actually an amazing opportunity to feed into. So I think that made it very attractive to us. And then with our little bit that background that we do have, that it was something worth pursuing. It wasn't just a brand new thing, really. There was something real here and a potential for a long-term and growing market if things could work out well.
So Abhishek, I know you're in your history's in food production. Was it nice to be able to kind of see how all of the things would work together? You know, to see have it done before and then go, okay, your problem's this, I think the solution's over here, and I know that eventually with, you know, everything's in place where this could work.
Yeah, absolutely. So as Michael said, I have a background in food manufacturing. Actually, the majority of my career has been spent in food manufacturing. And I saw some potential challenges with a direct-to-grower relationship for a producer, because there are certain requirements, right, that the manufacturers have around food safety programs and protocol. And but I also know the growers in our region because of the work I've done in the food industry. And I know that they are brave and innovative and capable of overcoming any of those sorts of obstacles. Oregon is known throughout the world as being a high quality value add agricultural state, and it's because of our growers. In fact, Koji and I kind of have joked around a little bit about this, because when we first met with Hele and Bruce and talked about this project, we had our technical folks in the room as well, and the technical folks from Yamasa, and they were talking about you know, all of the specific requirements of this varietal that they were looking for, and protein content and all of these things. And it sounded to us like, ooh, this might not work, right? This might not work out.
Right.
And then about a month later, I reached out to the Rudenklau, or maybe Hele reached out to me, and they were like, oh, we're growing a test plot. We're going to do this. We found a varietal. We want to check it out. You know, it makes sense. And we're going to, so they weighed their risk and benefit, and they just jumped in, and we were amazed. We were like, really? And then also I wasn't, because of course that's what the growers in this region do. So for me, it was really exciting to make this connection between a local producer and a local manufacturer, and find a solution that is a complement to our region, to what can be grown here, that kind of higher value, very specific sort of a product, but it also opens an opportunity for other growers and for more conversations, right?
Awesome. You know, Eric, you and I chat a lot about the ag supply chain and how it's not just stuff we grow, but it's stuff we make and produce and manufacture, and you know, technologies that we build. How did you kind of see this? How is this project very emblematic of Valley, our Mid-Valley economy, and especially our ag economy?
Yeah, I mean, in economic development, a lot of the work that we can kind of a reputation for is recruitment. And when, you know, those of us in this field know a lot of most of the work that we do, and most of the jobs are created, and the economic opportunities created through helping existing businesses grow and retain their jobs and keep investing and identifying new markets, et cetera. So, as we look to tackle, our Northwest Innovation Hub that we're, launching now, which is part of that is to help growers in the region identify issues or opportunities and how we can apply, technology and innovation to strengthen and grow those businesses. One of the things we went into that with was to be sure that we were including market in that and product development. So it wasn't just processing and harvesting and growing, but it was also, hey, what's out there on the horizon? How do we get good information, market information to growers and to processors so they understand who's in their backyard, so to speak, that might be able to make these sorts of connections. We grow 170 plus products in this region, and we're not a commodity region. So, even when you talk about a wheat farmer, that's a very different discussion in Yamhill County than it is in the Midwest. So, part of that provides an agility for these industries and these businesses. And I think that's the exciting thing for us, is that we see this as, entrepreneurial spirit on both the Yamasa side and the Rudenklau side and the grower side, and then trying to see where these opportunities are with other businesses in the area and where there can be things to buy, to make new products, to grow for new for processors here, or to make widgets for processors here to make things smoother. So it's an exciting time, I think, for SEDCOR, an exciting time for the industry.
Yeah, on the production side, Koji, what is it about Yamasa, the way that you guys are set up, that you're willing to take that risk, to try something new, and what was it like to work with directly with a farmer? Because I'm assuming in your line of work that doesn't happen all that often.
Yeah, our people are quite conservative in a way. But I guess the good part of the soy sauce making is brewing, is fermentation. The ingredients actually doesn't. When you have a soy sauce, the final product actually really doesn't have that ingredients in it. It's through fermentation, it's all break down into amino acids and all these, all this chemistry going on. But the air is, there's quite a bit of tolerance, but we do require, like Abhisha said, some certain specs needs to be met to make sure that we have to keep our flavor, because Yamasa soy sauce is known especially in the restaurants, chefs. They really like our soy sauce among all other soy sauces, because they said it just blends really well with the other ingredients and how we get the flavor. So that's the really important part. But this time, we were kind of confident. Actually, our production manager was quite surprised with high quality of what the Rudenklau was able to deliver. So we actually didn't really take the risk this time. It was more like Rudenklau who took the risk and grew the wheat. And they basically said, well, if you don't like it, we can just sell it elsewhere. So, but after looking at the wheat and tested, and it wasn't the big volume either. It's very small part of our total production. So, and then we have a small lab to test it. We did it and it worked perfectly. So that's kind of went really well. It was so well that and we didn't have any challenge on this project. So, which I'm very happy about.
Well, what was it like to work with a farmer directly instead of a big distributor or a big wholesale buyer?
I have a little bit of experience with that with my previous companies. I dealt with Midwest corn farmers, so it wasn't first time for me. But of course, for Yamasa, it was the first time because they've always been buying from brokers and other companies. So it was interesting. But I think it kind of makes sense that we are only like 30 minutes away from each other. Why do we need another people to purchase the wheat from local farms? So
yeah. But
overall, and additional part is that they have also truck to deliver to our factory. So it was, everything was perfect for us.
it was a lot of fun. We got to go out into the field. Koji's background there
Yeah.
is plot test plot. So it's a lot more intimate when you're working directly with the grower, to be able to see your product growing, to be able to sample it and test it along the way, and to have that direct connection to, you know, Yamasa they're a Salem company, they're an Oregon company, and they're working hard to use Oregon ingredients, and you can literally, you know, drive down the street like you just shared, Koji, and now see where this product is grown.
Right.
And that's exciting.
So Helly, on your side, what was it like to work direct with a producer?
So it has been very interesting. We have done we do specialty seeds, but always for a company that sells it on to somebody else, never to the direct end user. So that was interesting, but Yamasa has been great to work with. SEDCOR was wonderful to help out with some of the technical paperwork, things we had to have in order. That was probably the biggest challenge for us. So we decided we had 20 acres we hadn't allocated to do anything specifically. So for a farmer, it's always good just to grow it, just to see what you can do. So just grow it and see what you do. And as Koji said, we knew that we could always just ship it to Portland. It didn't work out. There is a market in Portland that we could just ship it to. So that was kind of our backup all along. But there were things we had to learn that we've never dealt with before in terms of some of the testing, chemical residue testing, pesticide residue testing, heavy metal testing, some of the things we had to figure out how to do that we've never had to deal with before. But it seems like it's well worth figuring those things out to create that set up that market and try to make it work. So yeah, it wasn't, you know, it took a little bit to work through it and find where to do it and take the time to do it, all that stuff, but it's getting there. So next go around, it'll be a lot easier. Our big thing was probably finding a variety that we felt would have a good chance here in the Valley, because really nobody's doing it in the Willamette Valley, so we just didn't know how it would respond to growing here. And I would say that's 1 year down. It did really well. I guess I'm still not 100% confident till we have a few years under our belt to say, oh yes, this is consistent year in, year out, that we can meet these quality specs. So, I mean, we're planning on putting in willow 100 acres this next year. So hopefully that'll all go well again, and then we'll be more confident for the following year after that. But I would recommend, you know, a few years to get a little more experience with it before kind of going, okay, yes, we can do this. This is how you treat it. And I would hope that OSU will jump in and help us a little bit, do a little bit of testing as well, to just get a better feel for the management of it. So, but really, it's been good. There's been some learning, and it was great having the SEDCOR and the people come out from the company and see the wheat growing. They've been interested in it. It's been fun. You know, it's always good to have a new challenge and try something new and get some mental work going and try and figure out how it's gonna work out and how we have to approach it. So it's been really a good project.
Oh,
and
wonderful.
I'm happy it's working out, that it produced good quality. So yeah.
Yeah. So what do you, as you look to the future, start with Helly, what makes you, obviously you're cautiously optimistic. You're not gonna, say too much in terms of certainty, but if you had to be your most hopeful and most optimistic, how do you see this expanding and, changing the way that you farm or the way that other people farm for the better?
Well, I could definitely see us having about 100 acres a year in our rotation. Wheat is a really good rotation crop for the grass seed. That's the main crop around here, and some of the other things. So it's really nice to have a wheat that you can use in that rotation. It's very, very beneficial economically to have something like that. So between 100 and 200 acres would be an appropriate amount for the size of farm we have. I would love to see that the use or the need for spring wheat from this area would be beyond what we can supply, and that other growers can get in and do it as well. I think that would just be a wonderful thing for this area to a good market for a hard red spring wheat. And I think growers around here, a lot of them are very, as Abhishek says, you know, growers are used to growing for specialty markets and having to produce a quality product and meeting certain specifications. So I think the growers around here are well set up for that type of market. So I think it'd be a great addition around here to be able to grow more of that hard red spring wheat for that market. I think that'd be great.
Yeah, Eric, how do you see this this type of relationship, you know, from the economic development side, bringing, you know, the supplier and the grower together, or the producer and the grower together in a very one-to-one type of personalized relationship? How do you see that happening more often, or being a pattern that we can follow to other things that we want to do?
We're already having these kinds of conversations with other processors in the area as well. So, you know, as a result, it's also kind of given us some renewed energy and enthusiasm with our state partners in Department of Agriculture or OSU, and they're beginning to understand how we're, you know, we can be partners in some of their work as they start to look at opportunities around specialty crop resources. You know, they're looking at medicinal herb, you know, opportunities in this region, for example. And, you know, I think we're in a good position to be a strong partner in some of that work and connecting them back to potential customers for what they're growing and what they're identifying. So it is really exciting. I was hoping there's going to be a big announcement of 100 acres of soybean grown here in the region, soybeans, but I think it's a little trickier. But that's our next thing to work on.
And yeah, Koji, you know, when you think about the future of locally grown wheat, or, you know, in Eric's dream, soy.
That's our dream too.
Yeah.
Thought you'd like that.
Yeah. You know, that's, you know, trucked in by local drivers, and, you know, again, that ag supply chain of supplying lots of jobs because you decided to buy locally, at least as a way to, you know, supplement what you're doing with other growers. How far can you see this kind of expanding?
Yes. Well, like I said, the soybeans it became a staple condiment in the United States, and amazingly, it's been growing every year. And basically, we don't have enough supply in the United States. So there's not enough supply in the United States, and we will be probably expanding more and more as we, you know, grow the business in the United States. But, you know, having local farms, one of the good things is, of course, we save our carbon footprints. That's one of the things that, you know, CSR and environment friendly factory, that's something that we also are trying to achieve as well. And then being able to support local economy and farmers is great. And our employees are really excited as well, and they're very happy that we are starting this project because they feel also proud to work with the Yamasa, which in a way is also supporting local economy and farmers. So definitely we have still a lot of wheat that we use, and 100 acres, that's actually not enough for us. So there's so
it's going to have to be a regional thing. It's not going to be a one farm to, you know, you like, yeah.
Definitely. So I'm very excited and very looking forward to next 10, 20, 30 years.
Yeah, as you think about this, Abhishek, you know, you have an even wider view than, you know, even Koji and Heli, just because that's your job, is to take as wide a view as possible and see how all these things can interconnect, and how do you see all these things interconnecting and, you know, growing into something good over a long time.
Yeah. You know, in addition, Michael, to what everyone else has already shared, right? So I would love to see more growers be able to grow this product and utilize it as a rotation crop, and be partnering with Yamasa, who, by the way, in my opinion, makes the best soy sauce. I might be a little partial, but it is fabulous soy sauce. It's my personal favorite, one I buy. I also would, of course, we are actually working with Yamasa to see what are some other opportunities, and maybe, we might not be able to grow soy in our region kind of, consistently and the way that maybe they need it, but could we expand that out and look at the state of Oregon, right? So how can we continue to localize the supply chain for this product and this product type, but essentially for all of the main industry sectors that are in our region? Because we all know that when we go to our neighbor and ask for a cup of sugar, that's when we learn that Judy knows how to knit, and that Bill could use some help fixing his lawnmower that you just happen to know how to fix because you have the same type, or that, you just painted your house interior the exact same color, and now you can giggle about the fact that you have that in common. And you don't know that until you go knock on your neighbor's door. And in manufacturing, and when I was in manufacturing, we used to say this all the time, that good hardworking companies have their head down and they're working and they're getting their job done. Sometimes we need to lift our head up, go knock on our neighbor's door, and just ask for a cup of sugar, even if we don't need it, so that we can get to know them. And so what I hope for and what I envision is just more of this conversation, more of this asking, what could we do? Where could this go? Sharing of what types of products we do use, or ideas about how we're trying to change our own brands and own product types, so that we can have open conversation and dialogue for innovation with partners. At the change of the century, not this most recent one, but the previous one, this region had the most food processing facilities per capita in North America out of anywhere else, right? We were concentrated, a huge amount of food processing. And it's not because just a bunch of people who wanted to build food processing facilities happened to move to the region. It's because this is such a rich agricultural region that it drew those activities. And that's not gone. We are an amazingly rich agricultural region. We still have a lot of food processors. They're so dynamic. They're constantly innovating, growing, and changing. And the way that we interact with each other needs to keep up with that, so that these sorts of projects and opportunities can continue to be in front of us, so that more Kojis knock on the door and say, hey, I'm looking for a cup of sugar, or 100 acres of wheat in this case. So that's what I hope for, and that's what I envision, more of that. Just lots and lots of that.
Beautiful. Yeah, so kind of final words, anything that you're looking forward to, or anything that you want to kind of say to button up at least this part of this conversation, because I don't think this is the last time that we're going to be talking about red wheat in Oregon. And I'll start with Helly.
Well, I certainly do. And the personal satisfaction as a farmer to grow a crop that will go locally into a food product, that is wonderful. That is a really nice thing to know, that what's growing out there will end up just going to Salem half an hour down the road and be made into food that'll feed people around the country. That's just a wonderful, wonderful thing to be part of. So I love that. I just think that makes my day. It's nice to be a farmer and grow something that people will eat. So that's a wonderful thing to be included in. So I want to thank Koji for reaching out and starting that process. I'm very, very happy with that.
Beautiful. Eric.
Well, just in a region that's known for our healthy fermentation industries like wine and beer, and have some distilleries. I think it's important to know that one of our most important fermenters is here with Yamasa, and anything we can be doing to help broaden our definition of what we ferment in this region, and what we, they've been here for quite a while, but their product dates back centuries. So that's the other piece of this I just love, is when you start to talk to them about their history and how we have a little bit of piece of that in this region. So we're looking forward to the future with them.
And Abisha.
I'm just so grateful to be working with partners like the Rudenklau and Yamasa, Koji's team at Yamasa. I'm just so grateful, and it's energizing, this sort of work and these sorts of projects. And I just thank you both for being brave and excited and deciding to work on this project together.
All right, last word, Koji. I just really feel blessed with to be able to meet all you guys and be able to, move this project moving forward. Like Bishop was explaining a little bit in the beginning, initially we thought that, oh, this is hard things to grow, and we were kind of started giving up, and all of a sudden the miracle happened, like you see in my background. So very excited. I'm very proud as well to be able to support the local farm and help the business, and I know that we can grow this opportunity much bigger. So I'm looking forward to that as well. Thank you.
Beautiful. All right, everybody, keep doing what you're doing, because you do it well, and we'll keep telling this story.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.